two souls, where one would die with their body, or the other one would die their body first, and then their spirit would wander. And I think that, like, they preferred to die the second way, because they didn't want their body to be the walls that held them within. So, yes.
Another quote we found in regards to death and dying is that old age was simply a delightful time, when old people sat on the sunny doorsteps, playing in the sun with the children until they fell asleep. At last, they failed to wake up. James Paytiano said this. In other words, that this is the ideal way of dying. When you're old and you're happy, you're playing with the children, you're sitting outside of your house, and when you fall asleep, you're then dying to the spiritual world. They believe that death is not something tragic, or you shouldn't be unhappy about it. You should just expect it, but while you're at it, you should live a happy life. With age, people who keep their spirit as they were when they were younger, they're not going to let the age affect them as how they grow or how happy or sad they would live their life. And Native Americans would not see it as a grieving thing, as Denise once said before. Also, the expected death should not keep people from living as they did previously, as I just said.
For most Native Americans, fighting for your people is a great privilege, and fighting for your people. If my warriors are to fight, they are too few, but if they are to die, they are too many. What this means is that if you die for your people, it's fine. We will respect you. That's how they thought of it. But if you are to die, we still cherish a life. So this is pretty much saying oh, we acknowledge you to fight, we expect you to fight. But if you die, do not think that your death is one of many. It is one because of you. Today, most American tribes believe that the soul of the people who have fought for them should be heavily respected, and they do special rituals and dances to commemorate their fallen brothers. During large wars or battles, most tribes would gather the bodies and bury them, but never completely with a closed coffin, to allow the spirit to be released. When the grave is dug, the area around it carefully checked. No footprints should be left in or around the grave. It must be done so the spirit's guide will not take the wrong spirit. So for them to pay respect, they would bury most of the bodies all in one place, far enough from each other, so when the Great Spirit were to take them, he would not take anyone by mistake. And then they would not limit their brothers or sisters that died. So they would leave the top of their caskets open. And then the way how they celebrated and acknowledged most of the dead. A lot of them sung. They did a lot of rituals, and when they sung from their throat more often than ever. The reason for that was because it was closer to their soul. And if you were trying to acknowledge a soul or an existence of a previous person, singing from your soul gave it more power, and then it would acknowledge the others to leave their bodies. So when a spirit would leave the body, it would leave with less anxiety and pass over into the spirit world, where we are met with our ancestors who have passed on before us. So for them, they did not only want the person that died to leave, but to leave with comfort, because they finally know that their time is over and that they can be happy because it is.
So now here are some artistic representations of dying and death itself. So in here is a picture of someone's ceremony of death. And like the first group has mentioned, during the ceremonies when someone's dying, they have feathers and tokens of someone for when they're dead. And it's in a way to represent how their life was lived. So let's say someone has lived a happy life with lots of friends and family. They would put herbs that would represent their one's life, or tokens they would cherish much, and things like that. Like here, you see them playing music with some feathers and skulls, and these are probably the tokens they would use to represent that one person's life. And now here's an interactive activity. I would like some of you guys to think of vegetables or fruits or herbs and spices you believe would represent your life or tokens that you cherish. Would anyone like to share? Maybe explain a reason why. Like, I personally would say one vegetable that would represent me is an artichoke because I have strong walls put around me, but once you get to the middle, it's soft and squishy. So, would anyone like to share? Go for it.
So I'm thinking of tomato, like they're on the outside it's just plain red, but on the inside there's all those seeds in it. It's just like on the outside it's just plain red, on the inside it's just like, woo!
That's lovely. Are there anyone else who would like to share? Or say a token that you very much cherish? No?
No spices?
Okay.
So a token I think represents my life is a music box. Is a music box my godmother gave me, and like once you open it, like the song starts playing, and there's a little mirror like on it, and there's two like little swans, and if you like turn it, like it starts like moving, like you know, like a little dance. And the reason why I see it representing my life is because like the swans I see is like me and my family, like we're always together, like I can't live without them.
Oh, that's very
And
nice.
it's like really cute.
Would you like to share?
Yeah, token that I really cherish is a teddy bear that my parents gave me when I was like 3. I still have it somewhere in my house. I think it's in my drawer, but no, I still have it, and I don't know. I think it represents me because like when I was younger, it gave me company because I didn't really get to go outside too much. So like it was always with me. So I like to think that I can comfort people, and I don't always have, like, they don't need me to be there all the time, but they can always come back to me.
Well, thank you guys for sharing. Is there anyone else, or should we move on? Okay. And here's a picture of, it's not really artistic representation of dying, but this is probably a ceremony, or maybe not a ceremony, just people gathering mourning for someone's death. And you can't really see, but they think they're dressed in their native clothing and probably mourning over one of their loved ones. And that's it.